Home buying negotiation? What is it? Let's talk about that next. Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave, coming back at you. And today we're talking about home buying negotiations. So when it comes to buying a house, there are many things that you as a buyer can negotiate with the seller. How much you can negotiate depends mostly on the market condition, other buyers competing for the same property, and the seller's willingness to sell the house. So here's 10 points in negotiation that you need to consider. So number one, the sales price. Obviously, this is probably the most obvious one there is, right? So if you don't think the house is worth what they're asking, you're going to offer less. And maybe or maybe not, he'll counter offer and you guys can negotiate back and forth. But there are many other things besides just the price. One of those would be number two, seller's subsidy. Well, what does this mean? This means that if you maybe don't have the cash to come up with all the closing costs and things like that, that you can ask the seller to help pay some of those costs. And this is very routine. It doesn't happen on every deal, but it happens very frequently. Maybe you need an extra $3,000 or $4,000 to cover those closing costs, and you'll offer him full price or maybe a couple thousand over if he agrees to pay so much in those closing costs. Number three is the closing date. Do you need to be in the house like right away, or do you have some flexibility? Let's talk with the seller and find out what his needs are. Maybe he needs to have it sold like by the end of the month, or maybe he's having a house built and it'd be great if he could stay in this place for another 45 days while they finish up construction over there and he gets moved out. If you're flexible to that, that could be a huge thing to make the seller pick your offer as opposed to somebody else. You might even come in a little bit less dollar-wise, but because the accommodations that you're doing, you're going to save this seller all sorts of hassle and extra expense for moving twice. Number four, inspections and repairs. And with a new house, this really isn't a deal, but if it's an older house, this could be huge. Let's say that the seller is an heir and the parents passed on and the kids don't know anything about this house. They've never lived in it. And they don't have money to come and put into this house to make these repairs. Maybe they're halfway across the world. You could come in and you have the ability to closely inspect the house and make the repairs that you find that will be necessary. Then maybe you can tell the seller, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of all the repairs and we're going to go ahead and sign off on this contingency and we'll just move forward. And that could be a huge relief off the minds of the sellers because they're just not around and they don't have the ability or the time or the money to work on these things. So you come in with less on your offer price, but you take care of it with your inspection contingency being removed and peace of mind for those guys. Number five is contingencies. Well, and we were just talking about the inspection contingency, but that's not the only contingency out there. Some other ones could be you're relocating to this area and you have a house down there to sell before you can close on this one up here. That's a contingency. This deal is contingent upon that deal closing. If you're a seller up here, that might not be the best. You might not have the strongest offer because there might be somebody else that has put in an offer without the contingency. So instead of the seller having to bank on 2 deals going through, he only has to worry about 1 deal going through. So if you can come in with the least amount of contingencies, you're going to have the stronger offer. Number 7, pre and post settlement occupancy. So this kind of is what we were talking about earlier with the closing date, but let's say you're the buyer and you want to go ahead and get this closed right away for whatever reason, but you don't need to move in for another, I don't know, month, 6 months, 2 years. And the people that are living there now, maybe they'd like to stay. So you can enter into a post-closing rental agreement with the sellers or whoever's occupying the house, that they could stay there as tenants, pay you rent, whatever it is you guys negotiate. You have an offer that is unique and brings something to the table that maybe other buyers don't have. So number 8, allowance for non-inspection repairs. So let's say the house has a fence that's all fallen down, and it's the fence, it's not part of the house, but maybe you're coming in and you don't have the money, so you're asking for the seller to give you an allowance so you can have that fence made. Maybe some other buyer's coming in that does have the money and doesn't need to ask the seller to come up with that money out of his pocket. So the other seller would have the stronger offer. So if you can come in asking for the least amount of things to be done, typically if it's a health and safety issue, obviously we want that taken care of. And sellers in most circumstances want to sell you a house that's going to be safe, and they don't typically have any issue with that. Let's talk about number 9, appliances. What stays, what goes? Oftentimes we're going to see that the stove stays and the dishwasher in the kitchen stays. The refrigerator, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Washer and dryer for the clothes, sometimes yes, sometimes no. If it does, that's great. If it doesn't, you can ask for it. And if it's something that's important to you, you can adjust your offer accordingly. Number 10, taxes or homeowner's exemption. So in Idaho, we have the homeowner's exemption. So if you're the owner and you live in the house, then the government chops off the first $100,000 off the assessed value and then bases your taxes on the remainder. So that can really save quite a bit of money, maybe $1,600 a year or something like that. So if you're moving in at the end of April, you've got almost a whole year that you're going to be paying higher taxes for. So if you're negotiating with the seller, you can say, hey, you know what? I brought my offer in at $1,500 less based upon this. Doesn't that sound reasonable? And he or she's going to say, yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that. Let me go ahead and accept your offer and let's go ahead and get onto the closing table. So if you found this video helpful at all, please go ahead and share, like, and subscribe. I don't want to see you missing out on any future videos that come out twice a week. And remember, if you carefully consider what you can negotiate for, you may be able to lower the overall costs associated with buying your home. This saves you money, and let's use that extra breathing space in your budget for other things. Isn't that great? Well, remember, this is Treasure Valley Dave, always looking forward to helping you get home.